about to give our speeches.
I know. How are you?
My name is Mark Perez. I'm with the Task Force on Linguistic Policy. I want to thank all of you for coming. I would like to start by thanking Michelle Lake.
Turn it up.
It's as loud as I could go, sorry. So I would like to thank Michelle Lake for helping me with the following land acknowledgement. I acknowledge that where we are gathered today is in Teotihuacan, Montreal, which is located on unceded indigenous lands. The Kenyan Kihaka Nation are the traditional inhabitants of this area and are true caretakers of the land, with two communities bordering Montreal, Kanawake and Kanasatake. The land was never ceded nor surrendered. Historically, Teotihuacan has been recognized as the gathering place for many First Nations. Teotihuacan is an abbreviation of Teoni Teotihuacan, which loosely translates to where the group divided parted ways. It served as a natural resting place for the First Nation travelers. At the point of divergence, I honor, recognize, and respect these nations as the traditional stewards of the land and waters of which we gather on today. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Dale Weber, Secretary-Treasurer of the Task Force on Linguistic Policy.
Thank you, Mark. Mark works as a volunteer for the Task Force on Linguistic Policy. He's a young man, still in the prime of his career, donating an abundance of time to the task force to fight Bill 96. It is out of the goodness of his heart for everybody, of everyone in the community that is being hurt, impacted by Bill 96. Let's give a good hand to our volunteer, Mark Perez. Mark made this happen, and he pushed the task force. We have to get going. We have to be there. We have to be on the street. We have to be visible. This is the first of many mobilizations. I want to thank Mario, too, of the BEC, Building Ethnic Communities. They're getting us out here, getting us on the street to fight Bill 96. There's still too many people that don't know what's in this law. Let me tell you about Bill 96. Bill 96, under the guise of protecting French, is an attack on English-speaking community and an attack on, an attack on the intent of the Constitution of Canada. If you don't know about the Constitution of Canada, maybe you should take a moment and Google it. Because if you come from away, or even if you were born in Canada, you would be very proud and very lucky to have won the lottery to live in Canada. And Bill 96 is a threat to this freedom under the Constitution. Bill 96 is divisive, mean-spirited legislation that has legalized discrimination, and it obstructs freedom of education. That's why we're in front of McGill today. All those students in Vanier, Dawson, John Abbott. There's a lot of students now that can't go there. It should never have been allowed to be enacted in a free world economy, and it must be stopped. The federal government is being political, and it's not doing its job.
Right.
It should have never allowed Bill 96 to be able to be passed. We are here to fight Bill 96 and be heard. Let's be clear. Quebec is predominantly French. And Quebec is beautiful. That's why we're here. And Quebec's beauty is because it's predominantly French. We love the French of Quebec. We are not anti-French. That is not what we're doing. I am sorry, I have a particular disability that blocks me from learning French. But even so, in Canada, I should have a right to speak either official language.
Yes.
I'm retired, so I can stand before you. I'm not worried about persecution of my employer. Many people aren't standing up. They have to, they're worried that they're going to be persecuted. This is not Canada. Canada, we should have a freedom to protest. Quebec is home to over 1 million English speakers, and Bill 96 won't protect French. It won't make us fall in love with French, and it won't keep Quebec beautiful. In today's global economy, insulating yourself from English with the obstruction of rights and freedoms is a path towards self-destruction. Bill 96 will decimate our economy and the quality of our universities and healthcare institutions. Those that never come can never be measured. It will take everyday Quebec francophone, it will keep everyday francophones small, while the politicians give themselves enormous raises. We've already seen this happen. Don't be fooled. The elite are taking care of themselves. I've dedicated much of my retirement time being Secretary-Treasurer of the task force because I read the bill in shock and horror. Let me give you some highlights of what is in the new order of Quebec. The newly amended Charter of the French language with Bill 96 orders that the right to the preservation and use of the French language supersedes all other rights and freedoms. The right to the French language is a collective right of the Francophone majority of Quebec, which supersedes all languages and freedoms. Those of you from the U.S. should be appalled.
Come save us.
Just think about that. French supersedes all other rights and freedoms, no matter what they are. The supremacy of French over all other rights and freedoms is why Bill 96 has to apply the notwithstanding clause. This hierarchy of rights in law is not seen anywhere else in the free democratic world. This is new. Wake up, people. Your rights are under attack. We have to start mobilizing. We have to start chanting. We have to start fighting. We're taking Bill 96 to court because what Bill 96, what this law is not legal. And that's why we're mobilizing today. There are 7 lawsuits filed against Bill 96. And what do the politicians say? They're not surprised. Can you imagine? Our politicians, we pay them with taxpayer money, know that they're passing bills that are illegal. So we pay the politicians to pass illegal bills that we have to use our after-tax dollars to fight them in court while they pay their lawyers with after-tax money. Wake up. Let's start demonstrating. This is ridiculous. I'm burning my time, but I still have a lot to say.
Say it all. Say it
You
all.
want me to keep going?
Keep going.
All right. Under Bill 96, segregation is in effect. We've heard about segregation from the U.S., all about segregation. Oh, what a shame. Thank God that is over. But it's happening here. Only historical Anglophones, Indigenous persons, and newly arrived immigrants within 6 months are permitted to obtain government services in English. Others are denied. It doesn't matter if you are disabled. It doesn't matter if you're a refugee. It doesn't matter if you've lived in Quebec for 80 years or if you've employed 100 people in your business. It doesn't matter if you come from the US or UK. It doesn't matter what your background is. Your rights are denied if you are not a historic Anglo or an immigrant here within 6 months, or an Indigenous person. Could you imagine what our Indigenous people have been through? And now they're being segregated against again. Well, it is known that French speakers are the poorest demographic in Quebec. More will be forced out of the job market, more than ever. Franchisation is extended to companies with more than 24 employees. It used to be 50. When hiring or promoting someone in your business, you have to justify a requirement for another language. You have to justify it to the government that you need that person to speak English, Italian, Greek, you name it. You have to justify it to the government. The OQLF, aka our language police, is granted the power of search and seizure without a warrant, making doing business in English the ultimate crime. You need a warrant for everything else. Businesses are simply afraid to hire people who are not French because the government will come down on them. They will be persecuted. We are trying to raise money from businesses. None of them will come forward. All of them are worried about their name being trashed. All of them are worried. They have to keep their anonymity. We are trying to figure out ways how to keep it secret. Does this sound familiar? Want me to keep going?
Go till the end.
All the way.
Go on. Go for 1 o'clock.
Okay, under Bill 96, it obstructs access to post-secondary education and success. It's hard enough to get a diploma. It's hard enough to make the decision to leave your job and go back to school. And they're making it harder for you to do it. Are you eligible to receive CEGEP education in English? It has nothing to do with your grades. It has nothing to do with your program of choice. It has nothing to do with your abilities. It has to do with where your parents went to school. This is crazy. This is segregation. This is obstruction. If you're not eligible, you need to pass a French proficiency exam. And I'm being told this is not an easy exam. And it doesn't matter what your field of study is. It doesn't matter if you want to just serve the English population. It doesn't matter how old you are, if your family was recently transferred here. It doesn't matter if you're a refugee trying to escape a war-torn area. It doesn't matter. You cannot succeed and get a CEGEP diploma without passing a French proficiency exam. You are stopped from your freedom of education. And it doesn't even matter if you already have a degree from McGill. This is obstruction of education. Monsieur Legault, you're working on your legacy now. We read that in the papers. But your legacy will be that you have made Quebec an embarrassment to the free world democracies. Students are being blocked from getting post-secondary diplomas. Healthcare services and support are being denied. People are losing their jobs and unable to work in their field. And people are being treated like second-class citizens. And this is all within the first 4 months of Bill 96 being in effect.
Feel the power.
Are we revving up our engines? The taskforce.ca, we enable you to submit your story. Tell us your story of how you're being impacted. If you know somebody that's being impacted, submit the story. We need to tell others what Bill 96 is about, and we need to tell the world Bill 96 must be stopped.
And it must stop now. Yeah,
It must stop now.
Must
Yes.
stop now.
Yes.
Hey,
Oh.
we're the task force. We need donations. We're taking Bill 96 to court. We're collecting stories, and your stories will be heard through us. Please join us, donate, and join the fight for linguistics rights. We are David fighting Goliath. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was long.